Well, I just finished drafting my proposed jury instructions for a case that's coming up. And I was all feeling kind of mellow and relaxed. And then I heard on TV this Vance, whom Donald Trump has selected to be our president, should he be elected and something happened to him, this Vance would take over as president. And he graduated from Yale Law School. And I'm sure they didn't teach him this at Yale Law School, but here's what he said. He's talking about this Ohio thing again, where he's, I think, the one that started this ridiculous nonsense about eating pets and cats and dogs and chicken and pork and steak. I mean, there's just no end to what these people will eat. He started all that, and it was a lie. But the biggest thing was they called these people illegals. Well, they're not illegal. The governor, he's a Republican, DeWine, made a big point of saying over and over, and I saw him several times, saying they are not illegal, they're here legally. They're here legally because President Biden, there's a provision in the law, and I don't want to go into details, but you can, as a presidential edict, allow certain people to stay here under certain conditions. And particularly if there are people fleeing an area like Venezuela or Haiti or Cuba, where there are real serious, severe problems that the people there face. And so Biden signed one or more of these edicts making these people legal and allowing them to legally settle in this country, and several thousand of them settled in this small town in southern Ohio. And so they're perfectly legal. They have every right to be here. They have as much right to be here as Vance does, probably more so because he's from southern. He's also from southern Ohio, but these people weren't born there and raised there. Vance was born and raised there, which means he really has no right to be any place in this country. Plus, I didn't even want to get into this. He went to Ohio State, and I'm a proud Michigan grad, which means I hate him. So I don't use that word lightly, only as it relates to people who went to Ohio State. And if you went to Ohio State, well, then I'm sorry for you, but I hate you. I hate you. Almost as much as Vance hates those Haitians. So he says, one, they're here illegally, and they're not. The second thing, and this gets me, he says, because Harris signed a waiver that allowed them to stay in this country, and that was illegal. Well, he knows she's the vice president who has zero authority to sign any kind of waiver. She didn't sign any waiver. She had nothing to do with it, and he knows that. Unless at Yale Law School they're teaching that the vice president now has the powers that the president used to have. She signed a waiver to let these people in. And everything that they can try to pin on Biden, they don't pin on Biden anymore, so they try to pin it on her like she was the president. And of course, puts her in a position, what's she going to say? Well, no, I didn't sign it. Oh, so you disagree with the president? Yeah, so she just says nothing. So she leaves it up to people like moi to point out that either this guy is so ignorant he shouldn't have even gotten into a law school, much less graduated from Yale, and I doubt if he's ever practiced law, and I can almost guarantee you that he's never tried to. I think it's one of my previous, I forget now because I'm getting quite elderly. I'm almost 40 years old now. I'm almost 35 years old now. And when you get elderly, you forget things. And I believe, that I'm not sure, but you'll correct me, that I made an offer that if anybody can show me that Vance ever tried a case, and maybe I did, maybe this is a new offer, I will give you all of my Bitcoins. Every one of them. I keep them in my sock drawer upstairs. Fortune Bitcoins. I'll give them all to you if you can show me a single case that Vance just tried. I don't care if he won it or not, just that he tried. He never tried a case. So here he is, this Yale Law School idiot, telling the whole world that Kamala Harris, and then he said, and her order allowing these people to stay here legally, that was illegal in and of itself. So he says, with quite self-righteousness, and so I'm going to keep calling him illegal. Now, if you didn't get what I just said, and you didn't understand it, then go take some more drugs and pass out. if you understand it, you understand just how vile this little shit is. And I don't like talking like that. I usually would say something like how vile this big shit is, but I'm going to use the de minimis term this time, so it's not quite as bad as it sounds. And I'm sorry that my mother died. On the other hand, I'm kind of glad she's not here to listen to me talk like this, because I'd be getting it right upside the head. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you too, huh? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, but you deserved it. I never did. Maybe a little bit. Okay, enough of this nonsense. Goodbye, Mr. Vance, wherever you are. Good night.